This film also had the creepiest Santa. And you could,
oh my god,
yeah!
We need to find the fourth dimension, and by finding all these tiny little perfect things that happen in our neighborhood or in our town or whatever, we're gonna find the fourth dimension, and we're missing one. I'll pick Andrew Garfield. Peter 3.
Peter 3. Look, I put that on.
Ooh, that comic book filter.
This green ball?
This green tennis ball is Vecna, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. We're talking about Chippendales the dancers, right? Not Chippendales the chipmunks? Okay, I was just making sure. I didn't see it, but I know what you're talking about.
Bright lights. Hello, cinema peeps.
Hey, cinema peeps.
Oh, I still probably a twitch too bright.
Twitch too bright.
A touch too bright. There we go. That's
there we
better.
go.
That's a little better.
There we go.
Oh my goodness. I hope you're all having a great Tuesday.
Yeah. If you can't tell, I have a furry buddy behind me here.
Oh, Arnie.
He's having a chill.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he looks so comfy.
He's a comfy boy, isn't he?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I could use a nap.
Good afternoon nap. It's about that time.
Right? It's about nap time, I think.
It's about nap time. In a minute, I'm gonna need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up.
Z's. Well, I'm sad to report I really didn't watch a whole lot this week.
No?
My treat was I caught up with The Flash.
Ah. Was it really a treat, though?
No. It really wasn't.
Oh, man.
Especially, like I'm happy, like, they brought, Dreamer from Supergirl. They're clearly bringing back other people from the shows. That's really cool. I didn't realize her whole thing, though, because that's when I dipped out of Supergirl, was, I think, the start of season 3, and that's when she was introduced. So I'm familiar with who she is.
Yeah.
But I didn't know her backstory was that her mom got killed by a spider, so there was way too much spider imagery. I was like 0 out of 10.
You're like, no, thank you.
I'm like really close up. I'm like, why?
I know. Zena felt the same way. She was like, wah!
Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
No thank you.
Well, I started watching a new series on Netflix, actually.
Ooh, what have you been watching?
It's a series called Outer Banks.
Oh, the Aussies or whatever. I want to say they're Australian, but they're definitely not. But it's just like a bunch of like teenagers are like, these are the Outer Banks. This is where all the poor people are. And there's like a mixed group or something in between where the rich and the poor come together, and he's looking for his dad or something.
Yeah. It's kind of like The Outsiders meets National Treasure meets like there was that movie like I think it's Into the Blue. Or like what's that
there's some surfing, right? Yeah, there's some surfing.
Yeah, there's some like Point Break, kind of like fucking what's that one with Matthew McConaughey, Sahara, where it's like very it's like there's treasure hunting involved, so that's what kind of piqued my interest in wanting to watch it. And like it's there are some parts that are like pretty unrealistic, but it's easy enough to kind of just like suspend disbelief and enjoy the show for itself. But yeah, there's this kind of like underlying thing where there's like the rich side of the island and the poor side of the island, and the main focus is on like the poor group of teens, and they have like their group of friends that they hang out with, and they like to mess with the rich kids because the rich kids think they're all that, and so they like to mess with them a lot of the time. And then the one kid from the poor group finds out that he knew that his dad was like hunting for treasure or just like on some sort of excursion for an artifact, and he ends up going missing. And so then there's this whole storyline about him somehow like the artifact of a compass that was his dad's ends up in his hands, and there's a clue on the compass that leads him to this shipwrecked boat that's somewhere off the island, and it has like $40 million or $400 million in it. And this group of kids are like, if we find this, we'll be rich, and like, let's do this kind of thing. And so there's that whole storyline, but then the kid also, because he is underage and he doesn't have a legal guardian with him, child services is trying to come after him too, so he's trying to avoid child services, and there's all this other stuff. So it's a fun show though. I'm enjoying it so far. There's 3 seasons of it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I heard someone from my work really enjoyed the show.
Like I said, it's kind of like a National Treasure teen version of it. It's not like super like cringy teen, which is nice. It's just that it's a younger group, right? Because you know how there's some shows where it's meant to be like teen focused, like Riverdale, where it's just really cringy. You're just kind of like, okay, yeah, not for me.
Yeah, speaking of a show that has bad writing, oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, I dipped after season 1, and I've always heard like it got worse, and like part of me like wants to know, but another part of me is like, should I save my brain cells?
Right.
But the other part is like,
well, because wasn't there supposed to be some sort of like Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Nancy Drew crossover with Riverdale?
Yeah, Sabrina came. Yeah, Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I thought they were saying that they were going to try to tie Nancy Drew in with that too, but maybe they never did.
Yeah. It's because it's confusing to me, like, where Riverdale is. If that make like, I don't know if it's a Netflix, because when I was watching it was on the CW.
Yeah.
So for it to cross over with Nancy Drew, because I was also it still is a CW show, even though I have no idea what's going on with season 4. They were like, it's the last season. I'm like, oh, that sucks. And I've never heard a single word about it in the last year and a half. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
It's a mystery.
It is a fucking mystery. So, like, I could see how that would work, but, like, I don't know. It's always been promoted as, like, a Netflix show, even though I've watched it on CW. Anyway, not important. But, yeah. I just remember watching that first season, and then there were, like, comments, and they were like, the writing is so good. And I'm like, am I losing it? Like, this isn't good. And I think it's just gone downhill.
Oh, yeah. It's literally just a group of horny teenagers getting together. And
yeah. I think even, like, the people on the show know it's a joke now. Like, this is a joke. I mean, I hope they're having fun working on it together at least. But
yeah. Like, I think I read maybe, like, 1 or 2 Archie comics growing up, but clearly at this point they're not using the comics as, like, reference for anything anymore. I feel like the first season they kind of did try to keep a balance with that, because it was more like, you know, like the old Nancy Drew Scooby-Doo gang kind of thing, where they were solving this mystery amongst the town, and it was cool. It was intriguing, and then all of a sudden it got really like, hey, I like you, and oh, so-and-so's gotten really hot these days. Have you noticed that? And like, oh yeah, I'm like, okay. I'm out.
No. So what's my thought? Because I didn't realize, because there's an updated graphic novel of Riverdale, and I think that's what it's supposed to be based on, the show. But yeah, I mean, I never read any Archie comics, but the only experience I have is the Archie Mysteries cartoon TV show, and that was always weird to me that they ever made that into a mystery thing. But then when, you know, the show was, you know, first coming out, I was like, oh, well, I guess that kind of makes sense. Like, they did that long ago. Now they're just doing it live action. Yeah, sure. Fine.
Yep.
But yeah, I just remember there's that line with Jughead, and I was like, oh, just beating my head against the wall, where he's like, I messed up, Betty. I'm like, oh. I can't remember, like, what it was. It was something about being moody and, like, different. I don't fucking remember. It was so dumb. And I just felt bad for Betty. I was like, this girl's getting gaslit 100%. She was like, Jughead, I really like you. And he's like, no, I messed. Oh, yeah, Betty, I'm like all kinds of messed up. And I was like, bleh. I'm like, please.
Yeah.
Please, boy, please.
Because his dad's from the wrong side of the tracks.
Right? The snakeheads.
The serpents.
Sure.
The snakeheads.
The snakehead serpents. Yeah. And then, I mean, yeah, I think their last season is supposed to be like again, speaking of like multiverse, some sort of universe where they're like back in like the Archie comics, probably maybe you read in like the 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
Like a time jump, reimagining of character. Oh, I'm like, whew. Oh, sorry, Mike. It's just, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And to think, Riverdale got another season, but did Legends get another season?
No.
This world is cruel and unfair. That's all I gotta fucking say. Cruel and unfair. Kendra.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Oh, so I know I've talked about this 1,000 times, but I guess they've started filming the live-action version of Lilo and Stitch.
What? They're making a live-action Lilo and Stitch?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
I mean, that's how I feel. Apparently, like, I know so many people that they were like, Lilo and Stitch, like, changed my life. And I'm like, am I on crack? Like, no diss. Like, it's a fun movie to watch, but, like, I don't know.
I used to like watching the TV series, too. It was always on after school, so I'd always just catch it when I'd come home from school and watch it, and it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a heartwarming movie, for sure. But what do y'all got against animation? That's what I want to know.
The company that's built on animation, we're making everything real, though.
Yeah.
Everything real. Yeah. And as usual, there's a casting kerfuffle. So, gosh. Already going 10 out of 10 great.
I feel like they just do this to create controversy. It's not actually about the love of creating, like, or trying something new and leveling up in the technology. It's all just controversy at this point.
I just genuinely just feel bad for this poor girl who's now, like, under fire for, like, absolutely no reason. She was probably excited, like, hey, maybe, because from what I understand, I think this might be her first role, but, like, don't quote me. So she's, like, new, so to book a Disney film, like, wow, amazing.
Yeah.
And then just to get shit on, like, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm just like, that poor person who has to deal with this bullshit. Like, yeah. I'm so sorry. And then everyone's mad. Well, let's be real. Everybody always mad. Everybody be mad. Because, yeah, I think at least I saw a post saying that they started filming the live-action Lilo and Stitch. Maybe I'm wrong, and in this case, I kind of want to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to be filming. But anyway, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson announced, I guess, they're doing a live adaptation of Moana, and he's going to come back and be his character.
Okay.
And a lot of people are like, that movie's, like, barely 5 years old. Why do we need a live action version of it?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like some of the older ones, like, sure, maybe, to jump, interest again in them because it's been so long. But yeah, for like I'd consider Moana one of the new, like, it's part of the new era of Disney animated films.
Yeah, definitely.
So to already be like, yeah, we need a live action version. It's like, do we though?
Yeah.
Do we?
But is it like, I don't know. Like, I'm genuinely curious. Is it just because for the culture of it? Like, like are we redoing these movies because to represent them accurately culturally wise? Or is there something in these? I don't know, right? Like, is there something in these animated movies specifically? Because how some of these ones in the past, they're like, oh, this isn't politically correct, so we're gonna redo it live action so that it's politically correct, kind of thing, right? So are they doing it? Is there something about Lilo and Stitch specifically that's the reason they're doing that, or is it just the whole, like, Hawaiian cultural representation? They want to bring that kind of live action stuff because they did it for Aladdin, and, like, I don't know, right?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like for the most part, like, I mean, I could be wrong. I feel like since, like, the early, 2000s, well, even earlier than that, like, animators, like, do so much work to, like, bring these, like, stories to life. Like, I'm thinking of, like, The Lion King. They brought in, like, animals that they could sketch, when they did Brave, they sent, some of their crew out to Scotland so they could get the proper, vibe and to, like, learn. And, like, same with, I think even for Lilo and Stitch, they sent a crew out to Hawaii. And, they were part of that, they were, learning about the culture there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I've always, like, admired animated movies because they seem to go, like, that extra step to really, like, make it to feel, authentic and have that authenticity. Now, like I said, I feel like since the 90s, like, they've been doing, like, a bang up job of, doing better jobs at representation in animation, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I could be fucking wrong, sue me. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, it's hard for me not to, like, maybe for, my only, like, I don't know about Lilo and Stitch. Like, again, I have no attachment to that film. I think it's a little weird to try to do a live action, because to me, you're just going to make Stitch a CGI blob and everyone's going to complain.
He's either going to be horrifying or just weird. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's a little silly to me.
Yeah.
Hi, Arnie. Hi. But the only thing I can think about for Moana is that it seems like as of late, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been like really spearheading a lot of his own projects. So with like Black Adam, he was like executive producer or even a producer. Again, unclear. But he's been seeming to like really put his voice and like what he wants forward.
Okay.
So to me, maybe that's why Moana, like out of all these new Disney films, maybe that's why Moana's getting the extra push, because maybe he is really pushing for it to be live action. Not saying that that's wrong, but like, that's the only thing I can think of why, out of all the new animated films, maybe that's why Moana's getting one, even though it's really not that old.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just spearheading it and he just wants it to happen.
Maybe. Interesting.
And I mean, if you're going to be like, hey, Disney, I will shell the money, or, if you have a big name, I want to be like, hey, I want this made,
I guess, yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think we need a Moana live action. Like, maybe I'm crazy. I don't think we do.
No,
really,
I agree.
I don't think we need any of these live action movies.
No.
They're in it for the cha-ching.
Right.
But like, maybe if we can find, new actors or actresses, or again, maybe like you're saying, maybe update it so that, it's more politically correct, and maybe like sharing more of a culture. Like, sure, I think that's a positive, but
it just seems like it's all a money grab, really, because it's like, oh, if we redo this, we can make more merch, we can add new rides to the park, all this kind of
merch.
Stuff, right? So
the merch,
that's the only thing I can think of. And
produce more dolls.
Right? I don't know, it's just it seems unnecessary to me, because again, like, not saying that's why they're doing this, but because the way you advertise to people, it's like, then unless these kids' parents, or at least these kids, are being exposed to like the classics, the Disney classics with the animation, you don't really get to appreciate the old style hand-drawn animation of stuff, right? If they're only being exposed to live action and CGI. So it's like, again, like I said, unless the story is politically incorrect and we're just trying to update it or make it more inclusive, why not just leave things as they are? But I don't know, right?
And I mean, that's also like the beauty of animation. What you can't do live action, you can do in animation style.
Yeah.
And honestly, create like the most wild things, and the fact that it's come so far. And I mean, it's still such a little of a time to think that Toy Story only came out in like, 1997 or 1995. Might be wrong on the dates there, but just watching the evolution of animation is incredible. Whether you do, the 3D animation, or kind of more like you're saying, like the hand-drawn style, like there's just so many amazing options. So again, it's just weird to me that, like, I know in no way it's disrespecting the original, but it's hard not to feel like, wow, like this was really beautiful and all these people worked really hard, and you're like, you know what though? I want to see what it is live action.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't really want to see a CGI Stitch. Like, what are you going to do for an alien? Like, shit's going to be CGI. Like, what?
Paint a dog blue?
Paint Arnie blue?
Yeah, paint Arnie blue?
Done. We got your movie for you. Free of charge. But yeah, I mean, I would agree. And I know we've said this 1,000 times. I really wish they would maybe stop doing that, but they see dollar signs, they're going for it, baby.
Right? Well, and I don't know if this is actually under Disney, but I was listening somewhere that Demi Lovato is going to be doing her directorial debut, doing a documentary called Child Star about like the people like in her generation of the Disney Channel stars and stuff like that, and their experiences and everything. So
Yeah, that would definitely not be hosted by Disney. Disney does not want to say that they were ever wrong in any sense of the word.
Right. So that should be interesting because the person I heard it from was Christy Carlson Romano, the one who plays the voice of Kim Possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she has her own podcast and stuff, and so she was kind of talking about it. And she herself is very open about her own experiences and like her generation of everything. And so she was kind of saying, she's like, I'm probably not going to say too much about it just because she's like, I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. But she's like, I'm not confident that the documentary is actually going to be like opening up the floodgates for conversations, as more so it's going to just be like pointing fingers and exposing people. So I was like, yeah, interesting.
Well, speaking of Christine Romano, I just listened to her. I don't think it was the newest episode of her podcast, but she interviewed Shock Boy and Lava Girl.
Oh, really?
On her podcast, yeah.
Oh, cool.
It was fun, yeah, and listening, and I guess like again, Christine's trying to champion for like better rights for children on set, which I think is amazing. Especially because, like all these child stars, like you just hear like every day more and more like the horrible experiences that they've had and had to deal with. And all this time, and again, maybe just, we weren't open to the idea of mental health or, really open to the idea that like, oh, you're a person still. Yeah. Like I can think of so many times where I'm like, oh, this person's doing this. Wow. Like that's trashy. Like, wow. And you don't realize like, oh, there's like a lot of things happening behind the scenes that you don't know. And, I think it's, just a combination of like not like no one really talking about it and just us being very close-minded.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I would be curious to see what that doc is like. But, yeah. Wow. I know Demi did that thing where it was like she was talking to aliens. And
yeah, she was a little far out in the left field for a while there. I don't know what she's like now, but last I heard, it was kind of like, okay.
I mean, hey, they wanted to greenlit that show. Go for it, I guess. Right? Like, I don't know. Like, I can't fucking stop you. Yeah. That's wild. But I think that'll do it for today's episode.
Yep.
My goodness, it's so cold. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to leave a little comment in the comments down below, we would really appreciate it. Also, leave a deuce. If you know, you know. And consider subscribing to two pretty cool gals, I gotta say. In my humble opinion. Yeah, I would say my recommendation is, listen to the Christine Romano's podcast. I'm now going back to episode 1 and watching it all. So
yeah, I think I might have to do that too, because I know that she's got the Ned's cast on there, and I think she also has a couple of the gals from Zoe 101 talking about their stuff. And I feel like because we grew up in that era, it's interesting to kind of like see where they're at now and get their experiences. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm starting off episode 1 where she's interviewing her co-star, Ron Stoppable.
Yeah, Will Friedle.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm pretty stoked.
Cool.
But any other recommendations or same?
Check out Outer Banks if that seems like something you're into. It's on Netflix and it's pretty decent. I enjoy it. So yeah.
Check it out.
Anyways, guys, watch all the content and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Monkey.